My name is Jeff Lysick. I'm a public information officer with Great Basin Team 3. I am grateful for the opportunity to be here tonight and talk to you folks about the McCash Fire. That is what we're going to be talking about tonight, McCash Fire. For those of you who were here Thursday night, you heard me give this spiel before, so I'm going to give it one more time. I know there is a long fire history in this community. I know that you guys have dealt with fire pretty much for as long as you've lived here, and I'm sorry for that, for those of you that have had to deal with that. But we are here as a team to deal with McCash, and that's what we have to focus on. So tonight, that's what we're going to focus on. If you have questions about something other than the McCash Fire, I'm happy to try to find the right person to talk to you about that. But tonight, the team is going to be addressing that as well as the other individuals who are speaking to you. So tonight, I had this beautiful agenda all printed up, and it's now scratched on with pen, so I'm going to go through the changes. Tonight, we're going to hear first from Siskiyou County Sheriff Jeremy LaRue. After that, we're going to hear from Klamath National Forest Supervisor Rachel Smith, and then Karuk Tribal Chairman Buster Attibure. And then after that, we'll have a fire weather update from our incident meteorologist, and then a smoke outlook from our air resource advisor. She'll let you guys know when the smoke might clear out. I'm from Utah, so we've been getting some of your smoke, but we'll let you know when it's going to hopefully clear out of here. And then after that, Incident Commander Ron Bollier is going to come up and give you guys an operational briefing on what's going on with the fire. And then we're going to open it up for some questions. We're going to try to answer every question that we can. If we can't answer a question for some reason, we might ask you just to step to the side and we'll get somebody that can come over and address your question. We want to make sure that we respect everybody's time here tonight. You've all taken time out of your day to be here. We want to make sure that everybody who has a question has a chance to get it asked and answered. Okay? If there's not an answer for the question, we'll work on getting you one. If you are watching the video, if you want to throw a question into the comments, we'll get that answered after we post the video. So we'll start out right now with Sheriff LaRue.
Working? Nope. You hear me now? There it is. Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm got to back up. Sheriff Jeremiah LaRue. So I appreciate you showing up to this. This stuff is nerve-wracking. I can only imagine. Being part of the Slater fire this last year was a lot for a community to go through. And from a sheriff's point of view, my job is about evacuations and making sure that people are safe, making sure people have enough time to get things in order, to get things together. So a big consideration when we discuss and we consult with fire personnel is, what's the future going to look like? It's not just about today, but it's about the next days to come. And we know that there is a large fire that's quite a ways out, but I personally don't have confidence that it's going to be out before it gets here. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that to be transparent and truthful, because I don't know what's going to happen. But the reason I tell you that is because I want the community of Happy Camp to be aware and to get things ready. Be ready. We can't predict what's coming necessarily. What I don't want to do is what we've seen time and time again in different parts of the state, where fire gets closer and closer and closer, and then at the last minute, there's not enough time to get ready. And people are scrambling to figure out what to do with animals, or where to get their prescriptions, or where to go and where to stay and where to eat and all that stuff. So I'm hoping this is just an exercise that we can do together. But I want you to seriously start thinking about where you might need to go. Your medications, important paperwork that you need to get in order. Friends, family, loved ones, animals, those types of things. We've been through this before. I don't want you to not have enough time. So hear me on that. So what I'm going to do as part of the Sheriff's Department, what my job is evacuations. Okay, we have two types of evacuations in the county. There's warnings and orders. A warning is to letting you know to be ready. Get ready. Start thinking about the things that we're talking about. It's not it's not designed to create any type of panic. It's just you need to know that there's the possibility that fire could get close or come into your community. And so what I'm going to do is issue a warning for the Happy Camp area. I want to be sensitive to you and what your experiences have been in the past. And the last thing I want to do is to have to rush something through and send deputies through at the last minute to get people evacuated like we had to experience this last fall. That was very stressful, I know, for many people. We don't want that. So I'm trying to look ahead as far as I can, and I'm sure we'll get into it, different things with what the fire behavior is doing. But all I can do right now is offer that to you, that we're trying to be transparent. I'm trying to make sure that you have enough time, just in case. Okay, so you've heard this time and time again about your prescriptions, your pills, all that stuff that you have to think about, paperwork, where are you going to stay. We're here for you. That's our job. And so again, I don't want to scare you. I'm not saying that you have 24 hours. It could never happen. But I'm tired of reading about in the newspaper and seeing around the state where communities are destroyed because people thought, oh, we got time. We got plenty of time. I don't think that's what our job is. I would rather give out a warning and have people be upset than to lose lives, property, animals, and whatnot. So thinking about you guys and praying about it, everything that's going on. Code Red, you guys know about that? We talk about it, we preach about it quite a bit. We'll probably talk about it again. I just want to remind you that that's the best way we can get messages out to you. So Code Red, you can sign up on our county website. And what it does is for the phone, so the way it works is landlines, like the phones that you have at home. When we send out an alert or a warning or an order, it goes to those phone numbers. They're already registered. If we make a circle on a map or we put something in the computer system, you'll get a phone call. That robotic voice you probably heard before. The issue is cell phones. Cell phones don't automatically get picked up because you could be anywhere with a cell phone. So if you have just a cell phone, we need you to go and register that cell phone to a location, a physical address on the website. So that way, if we draw that circle on a map to say you guys need to evacuate, it goes to your cell phone. So just think about that, and we're here for you to help you work through that. So again, I don't want to alarm you, but I don't want to stand here or stand later on and say I didn't give you enough time. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel confident that I need to give you as much notice as possible in consultation to fire so that you can start preparing. Okay, so I'll be available for questions after. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Smith. I'm the new Forest Supervisor of the Klamath National Forest. I've been here for about 3-4 months, so I wasn't with you here almost a year ago when you went through the devastating Slater fire. But I was with you and many of the other folks from the Forest Service who are here in Happy Camp and also Wairika in the months and the time that's come after that. So I'm very sorry that we're in this situation again collectively, but I wanted to tell you that we on the forest side will do everything that we can to support all the communities because we're your neighbors. We're in the same boat with you. So know that when you're calling us on the information line, you're speaking to Siskiyou County residents who've been here and will be here in the future. One thing I wanted to tell folks immediately, I have good news. I shared a few folks at the farmers market the news last week. We finished our inspections on Greyback Road last Saturday. So the district ranger has put a lot of work into that. That's Roberto Beltran, who many of you know. He actually personally inspected Greyback last Saturday. It's clear all the way up to the Rogue Siskiyou side. So as soon as this warning goes into effect, we are going to open Greyback Road. So I'm hoping at some point we can have a party to celebrate. I'd actually already asked Buster Attibure and Chairman Buster Attibure and then also Ray Haupt to help us with a ribbon cutting ceremony. But the short version is it's going to be open tonight. And The Road Siskiyou is continuing their work. They've got a timber sale that's ongoing. So if you've watched the Facebook posts on that, you know that they're still working on their side. But Merv George and I spoke earlier today, and he's committed to making sure folks have access. So that's going to happen immediately. Please know, as you're going through there, it's been a long time since that road has had regular traffic. So though we finished the emergency work up there, you could still encounter some small debris on the road, so take it slow, please. And please do keep an eye out for critters on the road, because we continue to see a lot of them in the fire burned areas. So that's mostly what I wanted to share with you, and also just share, we're going to do everything that we can in partnership with you, and I'm really certain that we have the best team that we could have with this fire right now. So I'm really glad that we have this team there. Folks who have experience on the Klamath National Forest and in Siskiyou County. Their IC has more experience up here than I do, even though I just bought a house in the area. So awesome team, and we're already getting great support, not only from the other fires in Northern California, but we also got some support from the Shasta Trinity. They bumped over some additional resources. So we're getting extra help, people are paying attention, and know that we're going to be doing everything we can. Thank you.
Testing. Okay, it does work. And I get out of the sun. I'm Buster Attibure. I'm the Karuk chairman, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Karuk tribe. The Happy Camp has been home to the Karuk tribe since time immemorial. Like most of all of you, Happy Camp is your home, and we want to do everything we can to protect it. I'm really happy to hear Ranger Rachel Smith say that the Greyback Road will be opened up. We have advocated for quite some time, if there is an emergency situation, to open that road so we have access there. So very happy to hear that. I want to let you know that as soon as we heard about the situation and the fire getting closer, that we asked for extra resources. As you all know, there's many fires in California, and the firefighters are definitely our heroes, but their resources are stretched thin. But we did get a report from our Department of Natural Resources today that there are 15 trucks on the way. It may take 24 hours to 48 hours for them to get here. Those extra resources will be needed. I have also put a call into Governor Newsom's office through our tribal liaison, Christina Snyder, and give her a heads up. I talked with Abigail Yeager today, and they had put in a request for extra resources. And that request needs to go through the county, so I asked Christina, if that request comes through, to please expedite that request as soon as possible for even more resources. So just want to let everybody know the Karuk tribe will do everything in their power to protect Happy Camp and the citizens of Happy Camp. I would ask everybody to adhere to Sheriff LaRue's request to be on high alert, gather all the information you can, and be ready. So, right now we're hoping for the best. And as all of you know, the Karuk tribe is open, and my phones are always open to, we say, tribal members 24/7. So the citizens of Happy Camp, the same. Call anytime with any requests, and we'll definitely see what we can do. So again, some extra resources are on the way, and we have, like Rachel said, a great crew of heroes out there working their butts off to make sure we can contain this before it gets to the town of Happy Camp. And again, if anybody has any questions, any concerns, any needs of moving, we're here for you. I'm looking at Josh Saxon back here, the tribe's executive director. He in the Slater fire, he was instrumental in getting a lot of our elders out. Stayed extra time. We had tribal vehicles going. We pledged to do the same, and to Happy Camp residents the same. Call anytime with any concerns, and we'll do what we can. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. I'm Mike Seaman. I'm an incident meteorologist trainee. I know you guys don't need me to remind you that it's been very, very dry out here this summer. We're going on 3 months since we've seen any rain in this area. That's certainly not been good for the fire situation. It's caused a lot of the vegetation around here to really dry out and just be kind of primed to burn. So what I'm going to basically do is look ahead over the next week to 10 days and kind of give you an indication of what to expect weather-wise. Some of the biggest runs this fire has made was during wind events, east wind events. The good news is we don't see anything of significance on the horizon in terms of something that would really push this fire. Obviously, you guys are on the north end of the fire, so a south wind would be bad. The good news is we don't see any indication that we're looking at a big south wind event coming up in the near future. What we do have is a low pressure system that's developing over the Pacific Northwest. It kind of brought in some cooler air today that'll continue into tomorrow. It's also helped push that smoke out of the Happy Camp area today. It's actually a beautiful day out, or beautiful evening out here. I was just up here Friday and I couldn't see the hillside, so this is actually quite nice. That low pressure is going to cool temperatures through about Wednesday and kind of keep a west-northwest flow across the area through the remainder of the week. That's kind of just mundane for fire weather purposes. There's not a lot of strong winds, the air's pretty dry, it's relatively warm, but what's really driving this fire is the steep terrain and just the long-term drought that we've been in. This really causing the vegetation and all that kind of stuff to really burn aggressively. So the good news, like I said, no significant weather events coming up that would cause the fire to really make a big run, at least that we see, and we're going to be watching it 24/7. The unfortunate news is we also don't see any rain coming in at least the next 2 weeks, and likely longer than that. So I guess take the good with the bad, but the fortunate news is there isn't anything that looks like it's going to really cause the fire to make a big run, at least in terms of weather. So that's what I have, and I'll turn it over.
Don't have to make too big a run.
They tell me that there is a spot that the sun won't be in my eyes, but I'll just look at you. My name is Margaret Key. I am an air resource advisor. I produce the smoke outlook that you probably have seen in years past and again this year. We try to get that out by 8 a.m. to give you an idea of what the smoke might do that day. I will tell you that Happy Camp for me is especially challenging to predict what the smoke is going to do. We do have wind coming from the north, which can help clear out your valley, but smoke also travels up and down drainages, and so when you live in a valley, you get some smoke impacts that aren't determined by that regional wind. So I do the best I can with the smoke outlook, and if you've not seen it, it's on the Facebook page for the fire, or you can just Google smoke outlooks, and this is the Northern California smoke outlook. But a better tool for you at any given moment is called the Fire and Smoke Map. There are air monitors, purple air sensors all around. You can go right on that map and you can click and see what the air quality is in the area. And that way, if I do miss on the forecast, you can get what's accurate within the last hour or two, and you'll be able to see whether the trend is moving up or down. Forecasting is only one part of what I do. I really like to work with people on how they can reduce their exposure to smoke. And I know you're really concerned tonight about your homes, and you've heard about an evacuation warning. I don't want to take too long talking about that, but 3 things determine your exposure to smoke: the concentration of the smoke, the amount of time you're in it, and the volume of the air that you breathe. The concentration you can reduce using an N95 mask. I know everybody's sick and tired of masks. I'm tired of them too, but they will help protect you from the very, very fine particles that are in smoke. If you have to be outside in a high concentration, minimize the amount of time that you're out there. And then probably the most important thing is to not work any harder than you have to when you're outside, because the harder you work, the deeper you breathe, and the more you bring those particles into your lungs. If you'd like more personal information, I would be happy to talk to anyone, and my email address is on the Smoke Outlook that's published every day. So I'm Margaret Key, and just let me know if I can help you with how to put a clean room in your house or do something to protect yourself from the smoke. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ron Bollier. I'm the Incident Commander of Great Basin Team 3. We're out of the Great Basin. The team's comprised of folks from Idaho, Utah, and Nevada. Again, like Rachel says, I might have a little more experience in this country. It's my 40th year in the Wildland Fire Service. 30 of it's been here in California, and a lot of it has been on a lot of the fires around here. So the team is comprised of a good staff. They needed a little education on how we operate up here and having patience and doing the right thing at the right time at the right place, right? We've all been out here where we see we implement actions that with an unfavorable outcome. So I'm really tuned in and aware of the country, how beautiful it is, one, two, how tough it is and rugged. It's beautiful country. And it's hard to fight fire, and there's no doubt about it. You all know it. We know it. My ops section knows it now. Now my team knows it. So they've learned a lot since we've been here, and they're continuing to learn every day. So what I want to do is, one, echo the sheriff in the warning. There's no imminent threat to Happy Camp right now. Will there be? It's based on the fire behavior and the weather. Right now, it's behaving. We do have some issues that we'll cover on the map, and we'll talk about those. But right now, I echo what the sheriff says. Sooner the better, so you can plan. No one's asking you to pull out right now, but have everything ready to go. So if the return reverse call comes, you're ready to go. So I'm thinking the earlier the better, and it just helps us all in the situations we could encounter and help everybody get out. And again, thanks to Rachel and the Klamath for the opening the road. That's a good avenue also. So what we'll do is we'll go around the map. It's kind of hard to see there. I may talk general. I'll talk landmarks and communities and that. So we'll start at the bottom here, going towards Soames Bar, Patterson Ranch, and we'll talk about the lower end of the fire. So they were able to continue machine mastication and continue out the Iron Phone Road and continue going south, and they're continuing that operation. They were able to tie a piece on the what we call the 12 road from Ball Butte down and into the Marble Scar. So we have a box built there, and they're continuing working south, coming towards Woolly Creek. Eventually use the road systems, and they're only prepping the line right now and doing mastication and getting ready to go. There's no fire threat there. There is movement here, but it's in the old hay press scar, and it's holding it. And currently right now, no threat. We're working diligently to try and get something tied to Woolly Creek. Coming on up into Patterson in the Iron Phone Road held. They're being very successful in holding that. They did stop the forward rate of spread. We do have it lined. We do have it mopped up. Crews are continuing in there. Coming up through T-Bar. They do have it lined. They do have it secured. They are mopping up in there. coming on up into the Yukonom Lookout country. The lookout is safe and secure. They did some firing operations around that to clean up around the lookout. The Yukonom 2017 is currently holding, as you see, the fire perimeter. Depending on our weather patterns, it's staying in place there, and we're using that as a natural barrier so far. Coming on around the top, we're looking into Independence Creek at Dutch Indy. The fire made a push yesterday. You probably all saw the smoke. It pushed about 6,000 acres. It did trigger some evacuation orders and warnings. And I'll talk a little bit about that. All of the west side of Highway 96 up to just past Doolittle into Benjamin Creek is in a warning. Everything along 96 on the east side up from Independence is in ordered evacuation. Moving over into what we call Elk Creek. Elk Creek is currently in an evacuation order. Happy Camp again is in a warning. So the fire had pushed and triggered some pre-identified spots that we felt we needed the time to do the evacuation warnings and the orders. So coming out towards the east, out in Tickner Creek, this made a big push yesterday, and it threw a spot out into the headwaters of Norcross and Buckhorn Bear Creek, and it's basically in the bottom of Buckhorn Bear Creek. It's about 150 acres now. The helicopters are running. It's outrunning the helicopters. Currently not enough resources to staff it. We're just running the helicopters on it. And as the night falls, we should be able to be effective with the helicopters and do some work in there with that. Our focus again is this ridge from Independence Ferry Point. It goes out east, out to the Johnson hunting grounds. That was masticated, dozer line complete all the way through. They implemented a firing operation very slow at Johnson hunting ground and took it about a mile and a half this way. And then they implemented an operation from what we call Bishop Ross, about the middle. Chicken Ladder Road hits the Independence Road up here. The Smith River Hotshots lit very slow down both sides of the high point, tied back into the crew coming this way, and it's all done with one Hotshot Crew. That's where we're at with resources. So the crew's broken up in groups, in 4 groups. They were able to tie into each other. The other group continued out west, down, and about ready to turn the corner down to the river and come out at the bridge there. So everything is held so far. It has backed down to the main fire. On the ground, though, it didn't take the canopy. So there still is a potential for something to come out of the creek in the canopy. But they were very successful in getting that fire to back on the ground and down into the creek. There's probably some pockets and some cleanup that it's got to do. We may see smoke for several days coming out of there, but currently they should hopefully be tied to the highway sometime tonight. And then we go into a holding pattern. We did get a spot over the road here, and my pointer's at it. It did come from the push yesterday. It was 3 to 5 acres. We flew retardant on it, aircraft, fixed wing, the red slurry, boxed it in, and continued the retardant along in support of the burning operations, plus running the helicopters in there to support the Hotshot Crew burning that. And then when they weren't working there in the aircraft, the fixed wing come in, you got to pull the helicopters out. So when that happened, they fly over here and they work the Buckhorn Bear spot that's out here. So we're doing 2 missions at once. Chicken Ladder Road has been prepped from the top down about midway. They came from the bottom and prepped with masticators and that and got up about halfway. There's a piece in the middle. Due to the active fire behavior, operators it was not a safe place to be until we got this top piece secured. They may look at tomorrow going in to complete that. We have some other road systems in here that may be utilized and opened up. Structure protection group assessed all the structures, implementing structure protection measures. They're putting lines around house, covering water pipes and sprinkler systems where they'll be effective and doing work in there. Today I had a call. We have a call every day to the coordination center in Northern California, and I asked. They took a couple resources last night from us for the new start down around Willows, and we sent them to support that. And you look at it, we have to make decisions of where we're at, the fire occurrence. It was beneficial to send them off to that fire to keep it small. I want to keep them small before they get big. So we supported that. The crew should come back. It's a Hotshot Crew. So on the call this morning, we, the fire, us, all of us collectively, there's a lot of hand crew work out here, and one hand crew is not going to be effective. They are for what we do in the structures and help around there, but to get them to tie a piece of line in out here is so labor intensive for one crew, you won't cover any ground. So getting them in here to go direct in this, we have to use road systems, things our engines can get to mop up. We can't be hiking cross country. You can't staff it, you can't contain it, you can't control it. So we got to use the best features we can, and it's road systems. So on the call today, I asked for 15 more engines, immediate need. Even though Happy Camp's not threatened, we're looking at a 2-hour, 3-hour time period that if we do need them, you're 3 hours out. So I begged and pleaded. We got 15 more engines. They should be in here throughout the day, the night. They're going to staff some at night in Elk Creek. They're going to put the others on day. So we have coverage in Elk Creek with this spot, and watching this and doing structure prep and setting up for any issues that may arise out of the firing operation here as this backs down and cleans out and cleans up. I get we have nothing open here. I want to make no mistake, and I want you guys to understand containment when we talk containment, right? We contained this here along this flank on Iron Phone Road, T-Bar and Patterson. Make no mistake, we don't have anything to contain this. We don't have anything to contain this. We have, excuse me, we have resources to herd it this way, if that makes sense, and keep it from coming back into Happy Camp in the upper end of Elk Creek, and we keep pushing it out to the east. We have resources and machines to do that. We don't have the hand crews to do direct line and hold that thing where it's at. There were 175 orders for hand crews out there that were unfilled this morning on the call. So, and that's across the nation. So, looking at this, in my experience in this country, we have to utilize the best features we can in its road systems. I spent 33 years on a hotshot crew, running a hotshot crew. I know this country, it's tough, and one crew's not going to do much. So we need to be as effective as we can with the engines we got. Let's see, what else do we have here? With that, I think we'll wrap it up, and I'll be up here for any further questions if you have questions.
Would you point to Sulphur Springs?
Sulphur Springs. So you got to remember I'm the boss, so give me a few minutes to find it, but I definitely know in the general area. So right here, if you come off the point, come down here, Sulphur Springs is right here at this campground, correct? Yeah. So we looked at a piece of line there to try and get down to Sulphur Springs.
Not that far away.
not that far away. So we looked at a piece of line there with the machines and the equipment and the dozers, and it's rocky and it's steep and there's big drop-offs. You know, you all know the country. It's a beautiful country, but it's unforgiving. So, you know, we got to make the best decisions we can, and we got it a little ways down as far as the dozers can go, and got it about a quarter of the way off the top and stopped. So somewhere in the future, when all these fires start wrapping up and we start kicking people loose, I know it sucks to be the last one on the list, right? But you're really not the bottom of the list, but we're down there. I just want to share that. We're down there for priority. So somewhere we're going to get hand crews freed up, and they're going to come, and this may be a viable option to put in to block off this eventually. So with that being said, that's where we're at. Thank you.
Yeah, you can clap for him. He'll take it. All right, so we've reached the portion of the program where I'm going to open it up for questions. I want to let you know that there are some additional people here tonight who have not had a chance to speak yet. If I can grab my chicken scratch here real quick. Thank you. All right, so in addition to the sheriff, we have Brian Shinoni from Siskiyou County Emergency Management who's here, and then also Happy Camp Fire Chief Eric Haskell is here. So if you have a question that you want to ask and you know you want to ask it to a specific person, the way we're going to work this, just so that we don't have to go through more Clorox wipes, which are harder than I'll get out to find still, is if you ask the question, I'm going to re-ask that question so that the people on the video can hear what the question was. And then if you'll identify the person that question is for, we'll get them up here. We might do a little dance like we did the other night, but I'll hold the microphone for them while they speak, and then that way we don't have to keep trading off microphones. So anybody have any questions, and who would you like to speak to? Yes, ma'am.
To the forest ranger.
Okay.
Greyback will be open tonight.
So for Rachel Smith, the question is, will Greyback be open tonight, Greyback Road?
So we're putting out a press release as of the end of this meeting tonight. So we have a draft press release ready to go, and yes, Greyback will be open tonight.
So if I need to go to Grants Pass tomorrow, I can go to Grants Pass tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you.
What should we look at?
So hang on just a second. Sorry, just give me just a second. So the question, the follow-up question was, if she needs to go to Grants Pass, she can go to Grants Pass, and the answer to that question was yes. You can use Greyback to go to Grants Pass. Yes, sir.
What should we look at on the Oregon side as far as logging?
What should we look at on the Oregon side as far as logging?
So it's a good question. So Merv and I took slightly different approaches in terms of trying to clear the hazards along the road. He had a timber sale. To my knowledge, the equipment is actually being staged, but it's not actually on the road. So I know that, so your district ranger, Roberto Beltran, who's been instrumental in getting this reopened, along with Deputy Forest Super Chris Sexton, they've been working with Scott Blower, who is the district ranger on the other side. So they're anticipating folks coming through. So short version saying it's not going to be on the road.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank the firefighters because the territory is rugged, but there are also bees out there and rattlesnakes and everything else that they're having to deal with.
There are. So just a thank you for the firefighters for being in that rugged country with the bees and rattlesnakes and doing the job that they're doing. We appreciate the thanks. Thank you very much. It is rough out there. Beautiful though. Any other questions?
There's been a lot of fires there.
Okay.
I just hope this one don't destroy as much timber as the other guy.
We hope the same thing.
This other one headed up towards the Panther fire, which was a big fire.
Right. And the comment was that there's been a lot of fires and hopes that we don't burn up more timber, and that's our hope as well, sir. So I will go one more time if you have a question. Yes?
Yes, are they putting a fire cap down here?
Are they putting a fire camp down here? So we do have a spike camp that's been down here since before we got here. It's just down the road and around the corner. If you drive down that way, you would see signs that say no public access. the firefighters are getting temperature checks as they're going in. Masks are required for COVID protocols. We've got other protocols down there, and that's why we've kind of asked folks not to go in there. We understand that there's a celebration down in that area this coming weekend. Our logistics section, who handles those camps, is aware of that and has been talking to the community center, trying to get some intel on that, some information on that, so that we're prepared for that. Yes, sir.
How come they're having their lunches and stuff brought in from Orleans and they're not ordering from local establishments?
So we have a caterer that's assigned to the fire, and they're the ones that are providing the meals here. It's not coming from the restaurants in Orleans. It's coming from the caterer that's feeding the crews that are back in Incident Command, and they're feeding the same meals to the crews that are here. So there's no disparity between the meals that one firefighter is getting or another, depending on where they're staged.
So when them extra trucks come, how are you going to feed them? Same caterer, or are you going to use local resources?
We're going to use the same caterer. If we get all the crews that we order, we might have to upsize that caterer, because the caterers are classified by how many folks they can feed, the size of the kitchen they have. If we get more crews, if we get all the folks that we're asking for, which doesn't look likely just because of the scarcity of resources this summer, but we would have to upsize the caterer.
There's 3 people on the list that are registered out there.
Okay.
They're here.
Okay.
There's a grocery store, my deli, and a liquor store.
Okay.
They do lunches, but I do breakfast, dinner, all that.
All right. Okay. We'll keep that in mind. I'll get your contact info here in just a minute. All right. So the question was about catering and how the firefighters are fed at Spike Camp, and hope you heard my answer. It's a long one, and I don't necessarily want to repeat it. Yes, ma'am.
You talked about the Willis Fire, or
Willow Creek.
Is that Willow Creek or Willow?
Ron, that's down in Willow Creek.
That's a new start.
That was last night. Yes, ma'am. And we sent one of our hotshot crews down there.
And Hoopa has a new start?
That's one, and yes. So the question was about the new start last night. Yes, ma'am. The question is about the evacuation order for Lower Elk Creek. Sheriff, do you want to handle that? Wrong.
Use my pointer. Good call.
There we go.
What are we calling, what are you considering Lower Elk Creek? Is it the lower half to Norcross?
The low East Fork. Norcross is way the hell up there.
You gotta remember, I'm the boss. So right here, it's all the way through here, correct? So down through Elk Creek is in a evacuation order. So
5 mile to Happy Camp.
5 mile to Happy Camp, we're in a warning. So for you folks in Elk Creek, we know you're in an order. We'll work with you. We know you got to pack stuff up. We know you got to get stuff out. So we'll work with you. We won't, the fire, and I think the sheriff will help us on this, is do everything we can to let you get in and out of there, get everything you need, and then close it off. So that's what we want to help you guys do, and you folks in that community is be able to get in and out of there several times. Will Harling's been talking, we've been talking back and forth. If you know Will Harling, I'm sure some of you do. He's asking the same questions to share with you folks. We're willing to work with you to help you get what you need done. So it's not just out and that's it. So we can certainly work through that process, providing everything stays put where it's at.
Yes, is Highway 96, is it closed going down the river?
Highway 96 is open.
It is?
The question was about whether Highway 96 is closed. It is not. It is open.
Highway 96, we don't want to close unless we ultimately have to, and it's firefighter safety It's if we're using the road. If the firefighters are on the road, we will probably look at some kind of pilot car, or we'll close it all together till they're done with that operation again on the road.
Is there any possibilities to jump the river and get over on that?
The question is there a possibility it could jump the river and jump Highway 96 to the west side of the road?
So I live in Nevada, but I don't gamble. So I would not discredit that possibility. We get the right wind event, you get a wind event, this thing wants to spot, and it'll spot a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. You look at the distance here, that's a 4.5 mile travel spot that started this. This one here was about another 4.5, 5 miles that carried and lofted an ember. So the potential is there.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can share, is there a trigger point before you're going to put a warning out to Happy Camp Town proper?
Is there a trigger point? So the warning has already been issued for Happy Camp. So you're talking about the order? So there is a management action point, at which point we would notify the sheriff's office and let them know that an order is warranted at that point.
Geographically, you can't share.
Right about right there.
What is that?
So if I was to draw Chicken Little, come up Chicken Little about midway, come across over to 96 at Little Creek, Ferry Point, that gives enough time. We feel for anything in between here, either we can catch it, and if we can't, and it starts spotting on itself, that's where we say, let's do an order.
Ferry Point.
And I'm going to translate real quick. Chicken Little is chicken ladder.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm the boss. That's why you don't know.
that's why we bring him. All right. Any other questions tonight? The folks that you see up here are available for questions afterwards. So if you didn't feel comfortable asking your question in front of a bunch of people, they're more than happy to talk to you. I'm going to let you know, just a second, I'll get to that. I'm going to let you know, on the back side of this board, there's a progression map that shows the progression of this fire since it started till yesterday. It does not capture today's growth because we don't have that mapped yet, okay? But if you want to take a look at how the fire has progressed, what direction it's moved, that information is available on the back side of the board, and we'll have somebody there that's able to answer questions about that as well. Yes, ma'am.
I have family that's not here that's interested in what's going on down here. Will this film be online for them to view?
Yes, ma'am. This video will be posted on the Six Rivers National Forest Facebook page tonight. When I get back to Orleans, I'll get it uploaded to the page and get it posted. Also, I'm going to let you know we're going to have another community meeting. This one will be, check my note. The days run together, I apologize. So September 1st, and it'll be in Soames Bar at Junction Elementary School outside at 6:30. Now, obviously, that's a distance for you folks. We've held a couple meetings up here. If we feel like it's necessary, again, to hold another meeting here, we absolutely will do that, okay? And we're in tune with different community leaders and folks that we're talking to in the community. If they feel like it's necessary, we'll come back up here and meet with you anytime, okay? We need to talk to the folks down there on the southern end of things a little bit too and let them know what's happening and what the progress is that we've seen. So that's why that meeting is going to be held in Soames Bar, okay? With that, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. And like I said, Ron will be up here at the board. Others that spoke tonight will be around. If you have a question and you need to ask it, please feel free to go ahead and do that. Thank you very much for your time tonight.